What's up, guys? Kamikaze Fox coming to you from SRL Formula 1 F1 2018 on the PS4 platform. This is going to be Season 4, Round 10, live from Spain. And we are still waiting for a few of the drivers to join in. We are coming to you an hour earlier than normal on this Saturday morning. But we want to try and get the race out of the way for those that would want to tune over to the Formula E race. Live Formula E race, live real life Formula E race, put it that way. But yeah, coming off of round 9 last week, the unbelievable race from last round. We'll talk about that here in a minute, but still waiting for a few of the drivers to join in. But let's take a look and see who we've got so far. We've got Funes Van Houten joining in, Sandro Dulius, Francis McKinn, Ivan Brito, Rennie van der Stapp, Colin Higgins, Yannick Verpayten, Dion Stahl, Vasilios Belasiotis, Sam Brandt, Luke Smith, and myself so far joining in. So we've got 11 drivers, it looks like, so far. Still waiting for a couple of them to join in, but real quick, let's go over a little bit of a recap from last week. Round 9, the bashing at Baku, the attrition at Azerbaijan, as we started with 16 cars last week, and only 7 of them ended up finishing. It was quite an amazing race. Luke Smith took his first pole of the year being reserve driver in the Force India. Unfortunately, things didn't pan out for him. Nick Van Gelder went on to win his first race in more than 2 years. He hasn't won since Season 2. Picks up his first win of the year. And overall, his 5th podium finish. And on top of that, he took the championship points lead by 15 points over Francis McKinn. McKinn did not join the race last week, so McKinn loses out. Sandro Dulius finished second, picked up his 2nd podium of the year, and Cameron Weston Edwards picked up his first podium since Season 3, coming home in 3rd. And it looks like we're getting ready to kick things off here with an 18-minute qualifying session. Then we'll do a 50% race here at Circuit. What is this? Circuit de Catalunya, Barcelona. Actually, it's Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya. So, but yeah, Cameron Weston Edwards picked up his first podium of the year. Good to see him back on the fighting for the podium, fighting for the top spot. Rennie van der Stapp came home 4th. We'll talk about him in a little bit. He had quite an amazing race. Tim Hofnagel finishes 5th. He had been filling in for the McLaren drivers. We're going to talk about him a little bit more as well. Funes Van Houten comes home 6th. Yannick Verpayten on his SRL re-debut, his first race back since being banned last year, comes home 7th. And then 8th through 16th was nothing but DNFs. Luke Smith 8th. Sam Brandt 9th, Efren Daniel was 10th. That rounded up your top 10 points paying positions, but Luke, Sam, and Efren all crashed out. Ivan Brito, Jorge Correa, Dion Stahl, Colin Higgins, Sam Van Elven, and Vasilios Belasiotis rounds out the rest of the 16 drivers from last week. Again, also all DNFs. So we wait for this to load in. We'll go over a couple of quick notes. Again, Nick won his first race since Season 2, takes the points lead from Francis McKinn. Sandro Dulius picked up his 2nd podium of the year, and that actually moved him up in the 3rd in the points. Cameron Weston Edwards picks up his first podium since Season 3. And then we're going to talk about Rennie van der Stapp. Rennie van der Stapp, I'm not 100% sure if SRL does a driver of the day, but my vote would have gone to Rennie van der Stapp last week. He started, I believe he started 3rd or 4th, possibly even 2nd last week. He had a great qualifying session. He was taken out on lap 1. Heading into turn 3 by Vasilios Belasiotis, and subsequently him and Vasilios both went off track into the runoff area. Rennie lost his front wing, and this was on the opening lap. Vasilios rage quit from that point, called it a day, didn't want to have anything to do with the race. Rennie pitted, ran a great race, made his way through all the chaos and the havoc, and managed to come home 4th. If there was ever a drive to show these guys to not give up on a race, Rennie did it last week and put some points on the board, and he is currently 4th in points. So he finishes 4th last week, moves himself 4th in the points. An amazing drive last week by Rennie van der Stapp, as we see some of the drivers starting to finally come out on track. Looks like this is Francis McKinn in the Force India. Sam Brain has made his way out onto the track in the Haas F1. Colin Higgins in the Toro Rosso. Rennie Vanderstappen in the Renault, I should say. And here's Foods Van Houten. It looks like we're getting a couple extra drivers that come in here last second. Looks like Luke Smith is joining in, Jorge Correa. So the driver and car count should go up by a couple notches. Currently right now, looks like we've got 11 set for the grid this afternoon. And then we're going to talk about Tim Hoffnagel. Tim Hoffnagel's not here right now, unfortunately, but he'd been filling in at McLaren the last couple of rounds. As McLaren drivers have not shown up in 2 months, so he's been playing reserve. So he gets the official seat at McLaren. We've got a caution in sector 3 already. We're going to pick up Francis McGinn. He's going to be the first driver on a hot lap. Let's talk about him a little bit, because Francis McGinn leads the league this year in pole positions. He has 6. He was your points leader as of up until last round. He's got 3 wins on the season, 4 podium finishes. I should say 4 podiums, 3 of them being wins is really how that works out. So he'll be looking, he's 15 points down from Nick Van Gelder after Van Gelder took the win last week at Baku, Azerbaijan. Ooh, runs wide coming out of the top of the hill. Oh my goodness, and look at this. That's his teammate trying to get out of the way. That was Vasilios. It may have impeded his progress a little bit. He was trying to get out of the way, but Francis was coming in a hurry. I'm going to cut that one a little tight. See if Francis comes across the line. Sets the first time of the day. 1:19.558, so he sets the standard early on. Pick up Sandro Julius, and here we go, Foods Van Houten. And now Colin Higgins, so the times are dropping, 1:18.328 for Colin Higgins. That's probably going to be... Right now, I've got Foods Van Houten. I haven't breathed to Rennie Vanderstappen. Rennie is probably the fastest driver of those, consistency. So Sam Brandt and Francis both run 1:19. So we're going to pick up Francis again because I know McGinn is faster than that. Higgins currently your provisional pole sitter, but there's a lot of time left in the session. 13:30 left to play. And it looks like Francis again might be off the pace just a little bit. And he takes out the cone. So McGinn's probably going to pit in for a new set of tires, possibly change the setup a little bit. We'll pick up Sandro Julius. He's currently in Sector 2. He's currently trying to set a time for the sauce. You see, it's a little overcast today. Got a caution in Sector 3. Not sure if that overcast weather will translate to any type of rain during the race. Let's see if we get some clear skies. Oh, and Sandro almost runs wide and takes out one of the McLarens, it looked like. So Sandro is going to come across the line with a 1:18.262 to go to the top of the charts. Sandro's been getting back into his old form this season. He's got 2 podiums, 3rd in the points. He's got a win to his credit. That was back at Singapore. He's consistently finished in the top 10 in points for most of the races. See, a lot of guys are in pits. Pick up Luke Smith. Luke Smith filling in today at the Mercedes. Luke Smith had picked up his first pole last time out. He finished 8th at Baku due to a DNF. He comes across the line to start his first, well, I shouldn't say his first, his second hot lap. So 1:18.695 is what Luke Smith goes, and he spins the car, and oh, he's into the barrier. Good enough for 6th quickest, but he didn't get the setup right, and he is done for the day. So Luke Smith, not how he wanted to start this race weekend for him. We pick up Rennie van der Staap on an out lap. So I gotta say, it's 11 minutes left to play. There's still a lot of time to go. I do want to give a little shout out to Colin Higgins because 1:18.328 has been good enough for second. And he so far has been able to out-qualify Rennie van der Staap, Luke Smith, Francis McGinn. And those are some heavy hitters right there. So we'll see if Rennie van der Staap can improve on his lap time. So far he's 5th quickest. I mean, the top 6 cars are only separated by less than half a second. But credit to Colin Higgins. That was a pretty good time it looks like he might have put up. That would be his best qualifying effort of his career here in SRL. So here comes Rennie. He's going to start his hot lap. 10:20 left to play in the session. His fastest lap so far was the 1:18.591, which is good for 5th quickest. He runs a little wide in the turn 3 area, trying to keep that power down. Left side tires around this track certainly take a beating. And that very fast, sweeping right turn really puts a lot of stress on the left side tires. And especially this section here where you come out of these S's, you run up the hill, you're almost full throttle coming around this right-hander onto the short backstretch. You can pick up the DRS. Hard into the braking zone. And then you've got this other hard right-hander here, very sweeping. There's a lot of stress on the left side tires. Rennie looks like he's on a good lap. A little slow here through the chicane, but he comes out. Last sweeping turn. Here he comes across the line. Going to be 1:18.258, and that is good enough to take pole position for now. 4 thousandths of a second quicker than Sandro Dulius. Oh no, now Francis McGinn jumps to the top of the charts, 1:18.193. And Francis looks like he set that on those, let's see what tires is that, the Hypersoft. That's a medium compound tire. That is an incredible time on the mediums for Francis McGinn. It looks like Francis is still on the throttle. He'll be looking to set another time, trying to prove over top of the 1:18.193. Caution in sector 2. Oh, and he blew the quarter there, so that's going to invalidate his time. See if we can pick up Dion Stahl. Dion has yet to set a time. Looks like he's just entering the turn 5 area down the hill. The top of the hill, sweeping right-hander down the short backstretch, DRS slot open. Down through the last little set of chicanes here before you get onto that short backstretch. Oh, a little bit of counter steer. Looked like the car wanted to break loose there just a little bit. Dion's going to go across the line, 1:18.511, so that's good enough for 7th. So now your top 8 cars are separated by 0.7 of a second. That is some very close times indeed. We're going to pick up Sandro Dulius. He is just now starting another hot lap. Now, I commentated for an IRL race earlier in the year. It was an F2 race, and the lap times were all very close together there. Spain is a really hard course to try and make a pass on. It's a little technical. There's not a lot of braking zones. The straightaways are kind of short. You've got a good chance running at the front stretch. And if you can get a good run at the top of the hill, you've got that DRS range on the short backstretch, and that's the one braking zone where you can really make a pass. But other than that, there's not a whole lot of passing zones and braking areas on this track. It's very rhythmic and a little technical, a lot of elevation change. So the lap times that we saw in IRL F2, as you see Sandro runs very wide coming out of the top of the hill. The lap times that we saw in F2 translated over to the race, where the race was the top three were only separated by a half a second, but it was so hard for the drivers to make a pass that there wasn't much change in position from where they started. So qualifying is going to be key at this track. It's almost like Monaco. Track position is key on the qualifying. And Sandro aborts his lap. Obviously, we saw him go wide at the top of the hill, so that validated the lap time. He'll come in, switch over some tires, pick up Foons Van Houten. Looks like he's off the pace, possibly on an out lap or just finished a lap. We're going to pick up Ivan Brito, who's also off the pace. And then we have Sam Brent heading into the pits. The only driver to not set a time is Vasilios Belasiotis. He has a qualifying ban for his contact with Rennie van der Staap last round. And again, we had talked about that earlier, how Rennie, they both run up in the runoff area. And wow, look at this. Ivan Brito out of nowhere goes 1:17.777. Where did that come from? The only driver to break into the 1:17s, and Ivan Brito, unfortunately, is better known for leading the league in DNFs more than anything else. So really impressive qualifying effort by Ivan Brito. Less than 4 minutes, or less than 5 minutes to play, I should say, in this session. So a lot of these guys are in the pits. They're going to be making some last-minute adjustments, put on a new set of tires, and they're probably going to take one more shot at getting that pole position. Got some guys chiming in on the live chat. We've got, looks like Brito himself joining in on the live chat. Francis McGinn, and good old whip that trick. Georgie Porgy in the house joining us. Always good to see another viewer. And if anybody's a fan of Grand Theft Auto 5 videos, you should definitely check out Whip That Trick's YouTube page. Got a lot of hilarious stuff on there from him and his crew. And it looks like Ivan Brito is going to head into the pit, so he just retired from the session. What happened to him? Looks like he probably might have hit the wall. You see his car sitting off there to the left. So Brito sets the fastest time, and it looks like he had a hard time getting into the pits. So 3 minutes left to go. We're going to pick up Rennie van der Staap on his out lap. Swerving, I should say. Weaving, swerving. That just made a new word called sweeving. Trying to put some heat in the tires. Here we go. Last ditch effort from Rennie van der Staap. Now he's got enough time that he'll be able to do 2 laps. So if he messes up this lap, he'll be able to go at least one more. Rennie's going to 1:18.258. It's his best time so far, 3rd quickest. He's got a much better run. It looks like Luke Smith. No, Luke Smith was already done for the day. Rennie been coming on strong here lately. Good run at the top of the hill. Gets a pretty good exit. Almost runs a little wide. DRS slot open hard on the braking zone. Last couple of corners comes down to the short chute here at the chicane. A lot of guys get called out there for cutting the corner, so time penalties will probably be a factor towards the end of this race. 1:17.660 for Rennie van der Staap, just enough to go to the top of the charts. And we're going to pick up Francis McGinn. Looks like Sandra Julius is going around him. Looks like Sandra's struggling with grip just a little bit. Looks like Sandra might be on a hot lap with those medium tires. Good exit out of that last chicane there. Does not improve his time, but he's got enough time to go one more lap. So we'll stick with Sandro. Francis McKinn's going to be coming across the line. He's going to be starting his last hot lap. And Colin Higgins is retired from the session. Looks like there was a caution in Sector 2, so Higgins probably has gone off. We'll see if we see his car. Oh, there it is. Looks like he may have pulled off there. So Higgins, 6th quickest. Not a bad qualifying effort for him. So SRL, Sam, that's Sam Brand and Foods Van Houten. Both have their times locked in. 1:18.325 for Foods Van Houten and a 1:19.9 for Sam Brand. Definitely off the pace today as we stick with Sandra Julius, who's currently 4th quickest. Rennie van der Staap pulls into the pits, calls it a day at a 1:17.659. He's currently a provisional pole sitter. Does Sandro have anything for him? Caution in Sector 3 now. And no, Sandro is off the pace. Looks like he blew the last set of corners. And Francis McGinn is off to the side. He's called it a day, it looks like. Dion Stahl is done for the day. Yannick Verpayten calls it a day. And with Francis not going anywhere, this is congratulations to, and I'm going to say Rennie van der Staap and Ivan Brito, the only 2 drivers to break into the 117s. That's an exceptional qualifying effort by Ivan Brito considering the season that he's had. Again, he leads the league in DNFs. He's had 6 DNFs out of 9 rounds this year. He's only scored on the points, I think, once, and that was 9th back in round 8 in China. So here's your starting grid. This is Rennie van der Staap, Ivan Brito, Francis McGinn, Sandra Julius, Foods Van Houten, Colin Higgins, Dion Stahl, Luke Smith, Yannick Verpayten, Sam Brand, and Vasilios Belisiotis rounds out your 11 drivers for the day. And we've got Nick Van Gelder joining us in on the live chat. And your championship points leader is not here. Apparently he's on holiday, as the Europeans call it. To us Americans, it's called a vacation. So Nick Van Gelder, 15-point lead in the championship point standings, but nowhere to be found this time. So this is a good opportunity for Francis McGinn to retake that points lead. And with only 11 drivers today, just about everybody is surely to score a point, as long as you're in that top 10. Looks like the sun has broken through the clouds. It's going to be dry weather. This car's diluted. We're going to do the formation lap. So Rennie van der Staap is your pole sitter, and he'll be looking to get to the top step of that podium. He hasn't had a podium all year. This will probably be his best opportunity to do it. Ivan Brito starting second with an unprecedented 1:17 lap time. His best qualifying effort of the year and his best shot at points. He leads the league in DNFs, but he wants to put some more points on the board today. Francis McGinn just got hit on the formation lap. And it looks like he's done. But he'll be starting third. He missed last race. He'll be looking to try and close that points gap to Nick Van Gelder, who's not here today. Sandro Julius has been coming on strong. He'll be coming off of his second podium finish last time out at Baku. He'll be looking to get back to the podium again today. And Frans van Houten starting fifth, looking to put some points on the board. And then behind him is going to be Colin Higgins with one of his best qualifying efforts of the year. He'll be looking to at least finish the race, as he too has 5 DNFs this year, including last time out. Dion Stahl started off strong this year in the Scuderia Ferrari, has fallen off the pace as of late, so he'll be looking to try and get back to his form that he had at the beginning of the year and put some points on the board. Luke Smith will be starting 8th, and you see Toro Rosso of Colin Higgins crashes on the formation lap, as does the, looks like that was the Red Bull of Jorge Correa. We'll talk about him in a minute. But Luke Smith starting 8th. And then we've got Yannick Verpayten, who got the call, rejoins the league after being banned last year. He's now the number 2 driver at McLaren, starting 9th, and be looking to put some points on the board. Sam Brandt had a poor qualifying effort. He'll be looking to try and make his way through the field. Vasilios Belasiotis will be starting 11th. He had a qualifying ban for his contact with Rennie van der Stepp last time out, so he'll be looking to try and work his way through the field. And Jorge Correa will be rounding out your top 12 drivers today. He's in the Red Bull, didn't make it in time for qualifying, but he's here for the race. We'll be sure to watch him, see what kind of race strategy he can run to try and work his way into the points today at this 50% race. 33 laps today here at Barcelona. So 5 red lights. There you go out. Time to run what you brung. Good start by Rennie van der Stepp. Oh, and there's contact already in the back. Looks like that was Higgins to Dion Stahl. And it looks like Francis McGinn had a really bad start as he falls through the grid. Oh, and he's got contact with one of the McLarens. It looks like that's Yannick Verpayten. And they're both off in the back. And that's also the Hostler of Sam Brandt. You see McGinn tries to get the car turned around. We've got contact all over the place back here. These 3 guys trying to go through the first 1-2 section. And McGinn not having the start that he wanted. We pick up the action at the front. Rennie van der Stepp starting to pull away. He's already gapped Ivan Brito by almost a second. Frans van Houten has moved his way into 3rd. He's got Sandro Julius all the way coming up on his tail. So we've got 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Oh, look at this. Higgins is up to 50. Runs very wide coming out of the top of the hill. Vasilios Belasiotis, who started in 11th spot because of a qualifying ban, has moved his way into 5th already on the opening lap. Frans van Houten's got pressure coming on from behind as Sandro Julius is closing the door on him. Oh, and you see that Food's cut that corner. That's definitely going to be a warning. He does that too many times, so he'll get a time penalty for sure. Van Houten runs all the way down to the wall to try and break up that stream. Here comes Julius. Looks like he might try and make a move heading into turn 1. Ooh, he's not close enough. And here comes Vasilios. We got 3rd, 4th, and 5th right now. Vasilios looking for redemption after last race. And it looks like Yannick Verpayten, Sam Brandt, and Francis McGinn are all making their pit stops. Obviously, they had some contact on that opening lap. They'll probably be having to get some wing changes. This is great news for Nick Van Gelder, who's not even here. I'm sure he's probably loving this right now with Francis in the pits and running in 10th spot. Meanwhile, Rennie van der Stepp was pulled out to a 1+ second lead over Ivan Brito. Brito's kind of gapped himself from this 3-way battle by a half a second, but you've got 3rd, 4th, and 5th there. That's Frans van Houten, Sandro Julius, and Vasilios Belasiotis. Lap 3, and now the DRS is going to be enabled, so all these guys are going to have the DRS advantage. And it looks like that was Luke Smith making a move on Colin Higgins. Higgins trying to hang tough. He's currently running 6th. Jorge Correa has moved up from 12th into 8th after the opening lap melee. And again, Van Houten has got Sandro Dulius all over behind him. Dulius has got Vasilios Belasiotis all over the back of him. And this is actually an interesting battle because you see the yellow banded Ferrari and Force India, those are the soft tires. They're going to run a little longer than the red banded ultra softs. I'm sorry, super softs that are on Foons' Mercedes. And look at the DRS slot over 3 wide hanging in the corner. The Mercedes, Foons Van Houten doesn't know who to block. There's a little bit of contact. Sandro into the back of Foons Van Houten. Vasilios gets to the inside of Sandro, makes the move up into 4th, and now he's looking to make the move up into 3rd. Excuse me. Sandro hasn't given up on the battle. He quickly regains his bearings back inside the slipstream, and look at this. See, there it is. Foons Van Houten has to pit. Tires already starting to wear off. Now Sandro Dulius is going to have the DRS advantage. You see the DRS slots open on the Force India and the Ferrari. So Vasilios moves his way into 3rd. Sandro now 4th. These two are going to battle for the 3rd position. Meanwhile, Rennie van der Stap's pulled out to almost a 3-second lead over Ivan Brito. Ivan Brito hanging tough in the 2nd position. His best effort so far this year. But Vasilios has proven to be very quick this year. He picked up the opening round win in Germany in the wet. There was a little bit of controversy there as he made contact with Cameron Weston Edwards at the beginning of that race. But nonetheless, he won there. He's had a couple of pole positions and some podiums. You can see how fast he is going through the S's there and up the hill. He's going to have the DRS advantage over Ivan Brito. Brito tries to take away the inside line. Around the outside, tries to go Vasilios. Brito with a late braking move that might get reviewed. He might be trying to get back to the racing line. Oh, and these two are banging wheels now. Oh, no, and Brito gets pushed wide, so he loses 2 spots. Oh, no, and Luke Smith is retired from the session. He was running in last. Did he crash or did he rage quit? But nonetheless, another DNF for Luke Smith this year. He's been struggling with F1 2018. He races in IRL and SRL. Last year he was really quick in F1 2017, but he has struggled this year with this game in grip and setups. And now there's Sandro chasing Vasilios all the way down to the inside line. Sandro makes the move around the outside. So Sandro moves into 2nd. Vasilios back to 3rd, and this battle's not done. Meanwhile, Rennie van der Stap's lead is out to 3+ seconds. Ivan Brito drops to 4th, but still a great effort today by Ivan Brito. Jorge Correa has moved his way into 5th from starting dead last. Meanwhile, Francis McGinn, we try to keep tabs on the championship. Francis McGinn currently in 9th, and we see Vasilios just made a move at the top of the hill on Sandro Dulius, so these two will swap positions again. These two are not done with each other. Sandro tries to go around the outside. Vasilios' back end kicks loose. That's going to open the door for Sandro to make the move to retake 2nd spot. Now Sandro looks like he's starting to fight some rear grip on his car. Sandro gaps Vasilios just a little bit. Vasilios is still going to have the DRS advantage. They head down the front stretch. You can see him close the gap to that Ferrari. Not going to be close enough to make a move. You see Rennie in the background there, moving away. Still 3+ seconds ahead of this battle. Sandro, however, through that first sector there, Sandro picked up almost 0.7 of a second on Rennie van der Stap. Looks like Rennie is going to be on a different strategy. He's on the super soft tires. Sandro and Vasilios are both on soft tires. So it looks like Rennie's tires might be starting to give way. That 3+ second lead is now down to 2.2. And Sandro is coming, and with him is going to be Vasilios. Meanwhile, Ivan Brito looks like he just got passed by Jorge Correa for the 4th spot, so Ivan Brito drops to 5th, and he's got Dion Stahl all over the back of him. So a lot of action happening here on the opening lap. It's only lap 6 of this 33-lap race. Been hard to keep up with all the action from around the track. We've already lost Luke Smith, unfortunately, to a DNF. And Rennie van der Stapp jumps into the pits. That's going to hand the lead over now to Sandro Dulius. And the battle for the lead rages on. Vasilios makes the move to the inside of turn 1. And here comes Sandro trying to make the move around the back, around the outside. Sandro runs very wide there through turn 3, trying to stick with Vasilios. And this is all Vasilios needed. He just wanted some clean air, some open road, and Vasilios has proven to be a very fast and dangerous driver. He's very quick. He's starting to gap Sandro here. You can see the times. Top of the hill. And if Sandro can keep that car within a second distance, he'll be able to pick up that DRS advantage, that drag reduction system where the rear slot opens on that rear wing, gives less drag down the front stretch. If he can keep that car there, he'll be able to get that advantage going down the front stretch. You see he runs a little wide coming out of some of these corners. He might be getting some aero wash off of the slipstream of Vasilios' car. Six-tenths of a second, so he's going to be in the DRS range. You see the slot's going to be open on the rear wing, and he's closing the gap now. And Sandro make a move at the end of the front stretch. He thinks about it and cuts back in line. Not close enough. We've got Ifrin Daniel joining in on the live chat. Unfortunately, he's one of our drivers. Forgot that the round started an hour earlier today. Usually we start at 10 Eastern Standard Time in the U.S. Today we jumped an hour forward because of the real-life Formula E race. Didn't want this race to interfere with anybody that wanted to watch Formula E. And as much as I like real-life Formula E racing, this is where the action is right now. SRL F1 2018 on the PS4 platform. Season 4, round 10. Oh, and you see Sandro struggling with rear grip. Got a little bit of a tank slapper coming out of that corner. Lost a little bit of ground. He's got the same spot last time. He was about 7/10 of a second behind. If he can get a good run through these chicanes here. I haven't seen anybody pick up a time penalty yet, which I'm a little surprised about, because that last corner there, that last right-hander out of the chicane coming down and swooping to the short chute for the front stretch here, that last little right-hander, a lot of people cut that corner too tight, and they pick up time penalties from corner cutting. I haven't seen anybody get one yet. I'm sure a couple of drivers have picked up some warnings. So while this battle rages on, we're going to do a little bit of a grid reset because some of the guys have pitted. Jorge Correa started dead last, has moved his way into 3rd position. Sandro Dulius' teammate Dion Stahl in the other Ferrari is a half a second behind him in 4th. Rennie van der Stapp, who did stop, is now down into 5th. Foons van Houten is 6th. Ivan Brito has fallen back to 7th. Colin Higgins is 8th. Francis McGinn, who had that opening lap melee, is still running in 9th. He hasn't managed to gain any position yet. Yannick Verpayten is running 10th in the McLaren, and Sam Brandt started 11th, still 11th. Actually, I believe he started 10th. He's fallen back to 11th spot. He's well off the pace, unfortunately. Not the type of day I'm sure Sam Brandt would have. And you can see the rear of Vasilios' Force India kick out there, coming out of that hard left-hander. So Sandro versus Vasilios. This is really an interesting battle. Sandro, the seasoned veteran and the Ferrari league president. He's been doing this for 4 years against the young, aggressive rookie of Vasilios Belasiotis. And you see Sandro's going to make a move down to the inside. Gets a good run, and he's going to take the lead. The question is, how long can he keep Vasilios behind him? Because Vasilios is so fast. Oh, and you see Vasilios runs wide there, drops the left side tires into the grass. And Sandro Giulia is starting to gap him a little bit. But this is where Vasilios makes up the time. Vasilios is really good at getting a run out of the top of that hill. Down into the braking zone, hard on the brakes. And now Vasilios is within half a second. So he'll have the DRS advantage this time around. Oh, Sandro gaps him a little bit, almost 7/10, but again, a good run coming out of that last corner. The DRS slot's going to be open. Then here comes Vasilios. Sandro moves his car just a little bit, try and take away the inside line a little bit. No, Vasilios is too fast. And he's going to retake the lead. And these guys are swapping positions lap after lap, fighting for this lead. Sandro, I'm sure, would love to pick up another win. Sandro won earlier this year at Singapore. It was his first win in more than 2 years. He was really excited about it, and it was a great tip of the hat to him because his season started off abysmal. I mean, round one in Germany was very wet. He finished 5th. It wasn't that bad. Next time out, he finished 7th, so it really wasn't a great run for him. Round 3, he finished in 9th. He had run into some issues with wing damage, which is par for the course with him a lot. Finally, in round 4, back in Bahrain, he started to get back to his old form. He finally finished 4th that day. He hadn't quite made it to the podium. He finished 5th in round 5. As you see, he's still trying to close the gap to Vasilios. He had back-to-back 5th place finishes. He went 5th at round 5 at Abu Dhabi, round 6 in Australia. Then finally, round 7 in Singapore, he picks up his first win, which was also his first podium of the year. And you see he makes another move to the inside, and he's able to make it stick this time around. So he finally picks up his first win at round 7. Ran into some bad luck at China, where he ended up finishing 10th. And then at Baku, he came home 2nd. So his year's been a little topsy-turvy, and here he is battling for the lead again. And meanwhile, while all this was happening, just real quick, his teammate Dion Stahl has moved into 3rd place over Jorge Correa. That was a battle that was raging on, but we didn't watch because we were watching this battle for the lead. Vasilios, again, he's had a bit of a topsy-turvy year. Like I said, he won round 1 in Germany. I mean, not only did he win the race, but he won it from pole position. He picked up a pole, and it was a very wet race. There was the safety car involved. He's had a couple other podiums throughout the course of the year as well. So Vasilios, he's not quite up there in the points because he hasn't made every single race. But he won at round 1, and then in round 2 he had a DNF where he came home 18th because of it. So no points that day. He had back-to-back DNFs, round 2 and 3. As you see, he's on the front stretch. He's going to have the DRS advantage this time. And once again, Vasilios is going to dive to the inside and retake the lead. So these two have been swapping the lead back and forth now. It's about the 4th lap in a row where they've swapped for position. This is really going to come down to a race of misfortune or possibly a race of strategy. One of these guys falls, drops the wheels off, slides the car too far, makes contact with the wall. That could be the misfortune. The race strategy could be, who's going to pit when? Are they going to pit at the same time? Is one going to pit before the other and try and make the undercut? So, interesting race so far. Dion Stahl is solidly into the 3rd spot. But I want to pick up Rennie van der Staap, who was your pole sitter, pitted early. He's now moved into the 4th spot after working his way through the field. He just got around Jorge Correa, and he's closing the gap now to Dion Stahl for the 3rd spot. We're going to pick up Sandro Giulia again as these two get ready to come back around. Do they pit? And Sandro's going to head into the pits now. So Sandro's going to pit before Vasilios. He's going to try and make the undercut, see if he can make it work. So we'll pick up Rennie van der Staap. He's trying to close the gap to Dion Stahl. This is ultimately going to be the battle for second now as Sandro is in the pits. Jump back to Vasilios. We'll see what kind of lap Vasilios can put in, and if whether or not he is going to pit this time by. As I said, he's had an up and down year. Round one, had DNFs in round 2 and 3. Didn't make it to round 4. He was back for round 5 where he got on the podium. Finished second in round 5 at Abu Dhabi, and then had another podium in round 6. So he had back-to-back podiums. And then he picked up his third podium in a row around 7. So he was on a tear there, scoring some points. Looks like he missed round 8, and then obviously round 9 last week. He rage quit on the opening lap. So he's back again, trying to get some redemption. And Rennie van der Staap's going to have a run here at the top of the hill. And Rennie's been really good on this short backstretch and into that braking zone. He was really good there in qualifying. Easily makes that pass on Dion Stahl. Sandro Dulius comes out of the pits in 6th. Oh, and he makes contact with Boons Van Houten for the 5th spot. Sandro's obviously the faster car. You see he drops the left side tires. And it looks like this is going to be close. Here comes Vasilios. He makes his pit stop. Rennie van der Staap goes by. Jorge Correa goes by. Vasilios is coming out 3rd. Oh, and it's going to be close. Sandro just makes the move on Jorge, but is he going to be in the... He's not going to be able to get past Vasilios. The undercut didn't work, and now it's a 3-way battle for this 3rd spot. Sandro to the inside, and this could eventually be the battle for the lead. Sandro makes up the position. And that was very close. And I feel like that would have worked out a lot better for Sandro had he not come out behind Boons Van Houten. So he tried to play the undercut strategy. He's made it work, but he does not have the gap that he wants. Meanwhile, Rennie van der Staap has worked his way back to the lead where he started this race. Jorge Correa, who didn't even qualify, is up to 2nd. However, Correa has not made a stop. He's the only driver out there still on his opening tires. He's put 15 laps on the soft tires. He's yet to make a stop. And he's actually coming to the pits now, so this is going to drop him through the field. He slows down. So Sandro Dulius and Vasilios Delasiotis are battling for the 2nd spot. And this could eventually become the battle for the lead. We saw them battling back and forth, obviously, earlier in the race. Rennie van der Staap's got an 8+ second lead over these two, but he pitted very early. He pitted back on lap 4 to switch over to these softs. If he's going to try and run these softs all the way to the end of the race, he's going to lose a massive amount of grip towards the end of this race, and that might be able to afford Sandro and Vasilios to capitalize on that. Francis McGinn just ran the fastest lap at a 1:24.15, but he is still in 9th position. And I can hear Nick Van Gelder tap dancing all the way from wherever he's having his vacation, since Francis is all the way down in 9th. This is good news for Van Gelder because he's not going to lose the points lead. If Sandro wins the race, that would definitely close up the gap, but I don't think it would give Sandro the points lead after this race. It would move him into 2nd place for sure if Francis doesn't put any more points on the board. And just as we were talking about Rennie van der Staap, and we're going to watch this battle here as Vasilios dives to the inside. Oh, look at this. That is going to be a time penalty for Sandro Dulius. That's a 3-second time penalty for cutting that corner way too tight. You can see it from the helicopter view. His right side tires were all the way in the grass. That may have just cost him big time. as I was saying about Rennie Vanderstappen, he was 8.6 seconds ahead of these guys, and they have managed to gain a second on Rennie the last lap. You see, there's Rennie there, and they're coming up at the top of the hill now. You should see that's a lap car. There's Vasilios and Sandro just as they're getting to the top of the hill. And that is Sam Brandt in the Haas, just kind of running his own race right now. I'm sure Sam would love for somebody to have some misfortune so he could break into that top 10 and at least get a championship point. Sam Brandt's teammate Mark Cadelda is not here today as well. Cadelda is your Season 3 champion. Didn't start the season with us, but joined midfield. He joined us at round 6 in Australia, where he picked up the win. He's got 44 points on the year so far, but he's not with us today, unfortunately. Meanwhile, as we go back to the championship battle, Francis McGinn has moved into 8th, and he is closing the gap now. Well, now he's moved into 7th since Ivan Brito's in the pits. So up to 7th is Francis McGinn. And Sam Brandt is trying to do his best to get out of the way of this battle. Sandro's lost a little bit of ground here. Vasilios has gapped him a little bit. We're now just over halfway done through this race. And a 3-second time penalty for Francis McGinn. That could change his finishing order. So if Sandro's got any... Sandro's got the 3-second time penalty, we know that, and that's going to ultimately cost him. I mean, right now it wouldn't affect his finishing position if the race ended now, but if he finishes in front of Vasilios, and it's not a 3-second gap, he's going to lose that position. And again, this could be the battle for the win of this race. And Vasilios has got the lead cut down to Rennie to 5 seconds. So Rennie's lost 3 seconds in the last handful of laps. And Sandro has just fallen outside of the DRS range, so that is not good news for Sandro. He won't have that DRS advantage on that short backstretch that we just saw in the very long front stretch. So the time for these guys that they've been swapping this position back and forth has come to an end for now, unless Vasilios makes a mistake. And now we're going to keep a track on Vasilios because he's got the lead cut down to Rennie Vanderstappen to just over 4 seconds. And unfortunately, now it looks like we're starting to get a little bit of gap between all the cars, so we're going to give you a reset on the running order. You got Rennie Vanderstappen running first, Vasilios Veliciotis in second, Sandro Dolius is running in third, Dion Stahl, his teammate, running in fourth. Then you've got Jorge Correa, who's managed to work his way into 5th. Koons Van Houten is 6th. He's closing the gap on Jorge a little bit. And Francis McGinn running in 7th. He's closing the gap down to Koons Van Houten. Colin Higgins running in 8th. And Ivan Brito, who had a great qualifying effort today and ran up front for a little while, running in 9th. Yannick Verpayten has quietly been running in 10th. And Sam Brandt is last man standing. I should say last man on the running order. Running in 12th. Luke Smith was our 12th car, but he crashed out early. And we're going to pick up Koons Van Houten. Looks like this battle is starting to come along here. It's starting to create itself. We've got Jorge Correa running in 5th, followed by Koons Van Houten in 6th and Francis McGinn. So it looks like we're about to have a 3-way car battle for the 5th spot. And Rennie Vanderstappen has just jumped into the pits. as I was saying earlier, the battle for the lead was between Vasilios and Sandro. Vasilios is now 1.5 seconds ahead. And here comes Dion's stall. Looks like Rennie's going to be able to hang on to that third spot. So Rennie doing the two-stop strategy. And now this could work out for Rennie van der Staap. But we're going to jump back to the battle for 5th now. 5th, 6th, and 7th are separated by just over 1.5 seconds from each other. Jorge Correa, who started dead last, worked his way up to the podium spot, made one pit stop. He's going to run these mediums all the way to the end. Jorge is known for his very interesting race strategies, often runs very long stints to work his way through the field. He doesn't qualify well, and he knows that, so he runs different race strategies than most drivers to get himself into the points. He's had a rash of DNFs this year between SRL and IRL. He races in both leagues, so he'll definitely be looking to try and put some points on the board. And as you can see, Foons Van Houten, the Mercedes, has closed that gap to him, and Francis McKean has closed the gap down to Foons Van Houten. So the three-way car battle that we talked about that was forming is now present. And we're going to try and keep tabs on the times at the top of the charts between Vasilios, Sandro, and Rennie van der Staap. As we watch this three-way car battle, Francis McKean gets a run coming out of the last corner. DRS slots open on the Force India and the Mercedes. And Francis to the inside. Ooh, he's going to be able to get one, but not two. So he gets by Foons Van Houten. And it doesn't sound like Nick Van Gelder's tap dancing is hard anymore, as Francis is starting to work his way through the field late in this race. He's up to 6th. And look at this, he's going to make the move for 5th. Jorge tries the crossover move to get back by him. Oh, they bang wheels just a little bit. Francis has got the more preferred line heading to the next corner. Big lockup on the left front. Can Correa fight his way back? Oh, and Jorge puts the right side tires in the grass, trying to use up all the track, keeping the throttle down. He's going to have the DRS advantage here at the top of the hill. Why are we looking at the back of the car? We want to see what's going on at the front of the car. Oh, and another lockup from Francis and Jorge. If Jorge can just stick with Francis, he'll have that DRS advantage going down the front stretch. But he's giving up a little bit of time, and Rennie van der Staap just set the fastest lap at a 1:23.30. And you see these guys are locking up their wheels, left fronts, right fronts, as the weight transfers from side to side. Jorge's going to have the DRS advantage, but I don't think he's going to be able to get close enough to make a move on Francis. It was an over half a second gap. If you want to make a move going into turn 1, you really got to be tucked up under the gearbox of the car in front of you. Another puff of smoke out of the right front. Francis starting to gap the car. Almost a second gap now. Jorge Correa is going to be left in the dust, and Francis McKean moves his way into 5th. Ooh, but Francis runs wide there. Big lockup on that left front. So while Jorge's losing ground to Francis, Foons Van Houten is starting to gain ground on Jorge. Oh, and you see Foons had a much better line going through the S's as they head up to the top of the hill here. Foons has got the DRS slot open. Meanwhile, the gap from Vasilios to Sandro is 1.6 seconds. Rennie van der Staap is running in 3rd, 11.5 seconds behind Sandro. So nothing's changed at the top as we continue to watch this battle here. Sam Brand picks up a 3-second time penalty, but that's going to be inconsequential to his finishing position because he's running 11th. He's the last car running. Korea going to try and hold off Foons Van Heuvel. Looks like they're both running similar strategies. Foons' car looks like the back end just wanted to step out just a little bit. Through the halo. This is exactly where you want to be if you want to try and make a move on a driver heading down the front stretch. You want to be all over that rear gearbox. Get that DRS slot open as soon as you can when you come across the line. And Foons is going to have a good run on Korea as they head down the front stretch and all the way to the inside line, sweeps back across, slams the door on Korea, and takes over the position for 6th. The battle's not done. Korea's going to try and hang tough with him. Korea losing ground. He's going to have the DRS advantage coming to the top of the hill here, but he's not going to be close enough. This is a very short backstretch, and Korea has been locking up those wheels. You see there's just another puff of smoke coming out of the front tires. He's been locking it up going into that braking zone. Working lap 26 of 33. The laps are winding down. Korea's going to open that DRS slot. See Van Heuvel runs all the way down to the grass, try and break up that slipstream a little bit. And Korea just not able to make anything work. He's not able to get close enough to take advantage of the DRS. But he's not far enough away to where it's not going to make a difference, so kind of a crapshoot right now. And looks like a position change here. This is Yannick Verpayten. Oh, this was a battle for 10th. And the reason that happened is because they were both about to be lap cars. Looks like Verpayten was trying to make way for Rennie van der Staap. And Sam Brandt took advantage of that and moved into the 10th position. So Vasilios Belasiotis is your leader. He's got Sandro Dulles is now 1.5 seconds behind. He's closing the gap a little bit. You go 10 seconds back, you're going to pick up Rennie van der Staap. That is not a battle for position there. That is Sam Brandt in front of him. That is a lap car. Then you've got Dion Stahl, and closing in on Dion Stahl is Francis McGinn, whose race did not start the way he wanted it to, but it's coming together for him here in the late going. Now, the other question here is going to be whether or not, how difficult is Dion Stahl going to make life for Francis McGinn if McGinn catches him for the battle for position? Oh no, and Jorge Correa was just heading into the pits, and he may have crashed going into the pit box, or possibly pit road, because he was running in 6th. I saw he flashed up for pits at a quick DNF, and it looks like he's left the session. So bad news for Korea. We're going to pick up this battle, though. And as I was saying, how difficult is life going to be for Francis? And how difficult does Dion Stahl want to make life for Francis? Knowing that Francis McGinn and Sandro Dulles are essentially in the battle for the championship together, especially today with Francis being so far down the running order. This would be a great opportunity for Sandro to really try and gain some points on Francis. He's battle of 2nd and 3rd in the point standings right now. Dion moves to the inside, tries to take away the inside line, break up the slipstream a little bit. He's going to make Francis go around the outside. Oh, that was very close. Francis makes the move. And that moves Francis into fourth. And I think I hear a heavy sigh from Nick Van Gelder as Francis moves into fourth and closes that points gap in the championship. So unfortunately, Dion Stahl did not make life very difficult for Francis and really didn't do his teammate any favors. But Francis was much faster going through the down into the first corner. Looks like Sandro might be struggling a little bit on his old tires. He had the gap down to Vasilios to 1.5 seconds a couple of laps ago. It's now 3+. So Sandro looks like he might be starting to struggle with grip. Vasilios is well out in front. So Vasilios Veliciotis, 3 seconds out in front. Again, we talked about his topsy-turvy year. We've also talked about Sandro's and even Rennie van der Stap's. Van der Stap looking to pick up his first podium of the year, I believe, after a great run at Baku. I mean, it didn't start off well. It wouldn't be Rennie's first podium of the year. He had a podium back in round 8 in China, so it would be his second podium of the year and his second within 3 rounds if he can hold on to the third spot. I don't think he's closed the gap like he thought he would using the 2-stop strategy. It was an interesting call. I think he might have been better off if he was going to do a 2-stop, would try and run a very short last stint on the super soft tires, but he started on supers and he only went about 4 or 5 laps with those, so I don't think this strategy panned out the way he wanted it to, but the race isn't over. You never know what can happen with 3 laps remaining. It ain't over until it's over. Francis McGinn has had an amazing year from the get-go. His teammate had won back at round 1, but then after that, Francis McGinn, he won pole position for Austria. He ended up finishing 5th. Got his second pole of the year at Sochi. He went on to win that race. And again, had his 3rd pole in a row back in round 4, and he went home 3rd that day. Picks up his 4th pole position in a row at round 5, goes on to win that race. Again, picks up his 5th pole position in a row back in round 6. Unfortunately, that race didn't turn out the way he wanted. That's where he picked up his first DNF of the year, coming home 12th. But he had 5 pole positions in a row. Wasn't around for round 7, then he came back in round 8 in China. Picks up his 6th pole position, his 3rd win of the year. But he wasn't here for round 9, so Francis has been on a tear all year. He wasn't here for the last round. Nick Van Gelder picked up his first win in 2 years, gave him a 15 points advantage over Francis McGinn after last week's race, but it looks like Francis is definitely closing that gap down. And I'm not 100% sure where Sandro will fit into this. The battle for 2nd and 3rd in points, there's a little bit of a spread there. So Sandro definitely closed the gap a little bit. I don't think he'll take 2nd spot in the point standings, but you can always check it out online because the point standings are updated weekly. You can check out SRL online. The link for the website is in the description below, but be sure to check that out. So we're at lap 31 of 33, and Vasilios walking away with another win for sure. Vasilios, this would be Vasilios's, if everything stays as it is, this would be his 5th podium finish of the year. It'd be his 2nd win, so 5 podiums, 2 of them being wins. And in the Constructors' Championship, this is definitely going to Force India has basically been, because it's Francis McGinn and Basilius, that they are the Constructors, the team champions right now. Second to them right now would be Ferrari. They've been the most two consistent teams throughout the course of the year. Haas was off to a good start with Lewis Marshall earlier in the year. Lewis ran into some issues in the IRL Racing League, International Racing League. It's the other league that I commentate for. Lewis Marshall run into some problems there, got banned from the league for a race, and then subsequently decided to quit that league, and then decided to take himself away from SRL as well, try and regroup and give it another shot next year. So Lewis started out the year with SRL. He actually started out really strong. He was your championship points leader there for a little while. And actually, no, he ran into issues in SRL, not IRL. He quit IRL because of this. Get my facts straight. It's hard when drivers do both leagues. But Lewis Marshall had a race ban earlier this year in SRL, as we see Basilius come across the line to start lap 33. But Lewis Marshall for Haas started the year off strong, which boosted Haas, obviously, in the Constructors' Championship, but ran into a race ban and then subsequently left SRL, and then because of that decided to step away from IRL as well. So same story, I had my leagues backwards. So Haas was your Constructors' Championship points leader for a little while. And then there was some glimmer of hope when Bart Cataldo took his place back in round 6 in Australia, where he walked home with the win, and he put some points on the board. Cataldo's got 44 points this year so far, which is more than Sam Brandt's been able to put on the board. But there was a glimmer of hope there that Haas would be able to fight for that championship point standings in the Constructors' Championship, but Cataldo hasn't been nearly as consistent in showing up to the races as Force India teammates have been. So here we go, Vasilios coming around to the backside of the track for the last time, down into the little quick left-right-hander, the short shoot here in the backstretch. And coming across the line to pick up another win on the season is Vasilios Belasiotis. He makes up for his rage quit last week. Sandro Dulius is going to come home second. That's his third podium of the year, his second place finish in a row. And Randy Vanderstapp, who started on pole, picks up his second podium of the year. Another great outing for Randy Vanderstapp. Francis McGinn, who struggled early on, was involved in obviously a wreck at the beginning of the race on the opening lap. Fell all the way to the bottom of the running order. Fights his way back to fourth. Dion Stahl with another solid outing for him. Making up for some lost points in the last couple of rounds. He'll be coming home fifth. Foons Van Houten is sixth. Good outing for him. And then there's Colin Higgins. Good to see him finish a race in the points. A good day for him. He had a good qualifying effort. He'll come across the line in seventh. And Higgins definitely has a little bit of a fan following. He's a fan favorite. So good for him to come home seventh. And then we're going to pick up Ivan Brito, who set the second fastest time in qualifying. He ran up front for a little while. Good to see him come home in the points. And Sam Brandt and Yannick Verpayten are going to come home 9th and 10th respectively, both a lap down. And then Jorge Correa and Luke Smith are your remaining two drivers, round at the top 12, but they both had a DNF, unfortunately. So Spain was definitely quite an interesting race today. The last 10 laps or so, the cars were a little gapped, but it was a great battle for the lead, back and forth between Vasilios Belasiotis and Sandro Dulius for many, many laps. Something you don't often see in Spain. You see Rennie Vanderstapp there on the podium. Good to see him back on the podium as well. Definitely trying to make his presence known in the championship point standings. He is fourth in points, so he'll definitely be able to try and stay within striking distance of the top three, which is Van Gelder, Francis McGinn, and Sandro Dulius. So to round it out, after the time penalties are assessed, you got Vasilios Belasiotis, Sandro Dulius, Rennie Vanderstapp, Francis McGinn, Dion Stahl, Foons Van Houten, Colin Higgins, Ivan Brito, Sam Brandt, Yannick Verpayten are your top 10 points-paying finishers. And then Jorge Correa and Luke Smith both had DNFs. And I know that there's going to be some drivers out there that are disappointed that they missed this race due to the time change. But be sure to check us out at next round, and we'll be back to our old time, 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time for the next round. And that is going to be round 11 at Paul Ricard in France. So be sure to tune in for that. Again, check us out online. The link for the website is in the description below. Be sure to like, subscribe, and comment to SRL Racing. And again, there's a lot of SRL leagues out there, but there's only one Sandra Racing League. And then be sure to check me out again tomorrow over at IRL, the International Racing League, where they'll be racing F1 at 11:15 tomorrow morning. And they are going to be at Singapore. So that should be definitely an interesting race. So be sure to check me out there tomorrow. It's been fun, and we'll definitely catch you guys at the next round.